And we are live. What's good, people? Oh man. Welcome to the DL Saint. I really want to know the podcast. I know I advertised we were gonna do this show way earlier today. That was my fault. Scheduling difficulties on my end. This is definitely a learning experience for me. I full-time dad, that's all I really do. That's my priority. That's my mission. Make sure my daughter's is squared away and is good. So I worked out a time. We scheduled a time with my buddy Ty. He's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. It's gonna work out pretty good, but I didn't allot enough time uh, for any kind of unforeseen things that might jump off between me picking up my daughter and getting us home. So I missed that window at 5 o'clock Eastern. Um, and then Ty's a huge basketball fan. I think he's a Brooklyn guy. I don't know. Brooklyn and Boston just finished up. I know he was all about that game, and we were like, all right, we'll just push the start time until after the game. So hence the 9:30 start time, and I did that. So yeah, if he's a Boston fan, he's jumping up and down right now. If he's a Brooklyn fan, yeah, he still might be jumping up and down, just not happy because Boston pulled that out. Um, it is what it is. I'm not a huge basketball guy. I'll watch the finals. Whoever gets there, I'll probably watch some of the finals, but I don't really care. Cincinnati doesn't have a basketball team, so it is what it is. And I just like watching good games, but I won't break my neck for it. So yeah. And speaking of my daughter, this is going to be an upcoming show at some point, not tonight. Tonight we're doing the open mic series. I came up with this idea. Open mic in the comedy world is that's how you learn your craft as a comedian. You go to open mics, and open mic is just a non-booked show. Normally, they could be at a comedy venue like a comedy club, or they can be in a laundromat. It is what it is, but it's an opportunity as a young comic to get up there and learn the craft. Try to come up with some material. You go to an open mic, you normally get like 3 to 5 minutes, 7 minutes. It depends. Most new comics don't have that kind of time, so you have to build it up somewhere. So open mics are like that. And then if you're an open micer, that's like calling you a rookie. You know what I mean? The FNG for the military people, right? You're a new guy. So that's how you build up your material. That's also how you network with other comics and kind of make your name out there. You know what I'm saying? Putting in work. So I didn't come up with it. It was like open mic segment. So what I'm going to do is whenever I bring on my comedic friends, we'll just do what we call open mics. Tonight is open mic with Ty Barnett. Next time it'll be open mic with whoever I manage to get to do the pod with me. And we'll talk about comic stuff, man. We'll touch on entertainment, but it'll be centered around the comedian's point of view. Talk about what it's like out there. Everyone thinks they can do it. Everyone thinks they can just go on stage and they're going to be the next Bill Burr, you know what I mean, or the next Dave Chappelle. They think it's just like that, right? It's not. It's a craft. It's a serious craft, and it takes time to master it. I mean, you could argue it takes a lifetime to master it. When you look at the greats, you look at someone like Dave Chappelle. He started as a teen. Dave Chappelle was a teenager doing open mics and going to the club. His mom would take him to the clubs so he could perform and hone his skills as a teenager. So think about that. So he spent a lifetime, even though he's a young man. I mean, he's still young. He's not old. He's not in his 80s. He's not senior citizen, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So like Dave Chappelle is not a spring chicken, but he already has a lifetime and a half in the comedy game, and that's why he's so respected. That's why he's the GOAT. A lot of people will definitely do that. Be a Kid Hero. What's up? Absolutely. Big welcome, Be a Kid a Hero. I am Dale Saint. Welcome to the pod, man. This is the I Really Want to Know podcast. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the show. Feel free to interact. And if it sounds like I am stalling for time right now, you are correct. I'm waiting for Ty to hit me up, and then we're gonna jump in there. But I will say this: uh, I'm gonna do a show on this in the future. Definitely way off topic, but I have a teenage daughter. She's in middle school, and we were in California, and my daughter has in California has some serious academic struggles. I mean, serious. So to the point where we were at one point we were 3 grades behind academically, and we didn't know what to do. Like we didn't know what was going on, didn't know how to handle it. Um, Definitely involved with the school to try to figure out, what we need to do to make it better. Now, LA Unified School District is massive, as you may, you know, as you can now, imagine. It's massive, and it's really easy to fall between the cracks in a system that large. And my daughter was definitely between the cracks. Um, so I went to specialists, went to counselors, psychiatrists, had all sorts of tests done because that's what people like to do in the West. They like to test, test, test. So I did all this stuff, and I remember one of the tests in particular was like $5,000 or $6,000 to have this assessment done. Right, and it took like a week to get the assessment done. I had to take my daughter to the office where this professional was, and they would run all these different tests and do all these different things, and they came back with this really thick report. And it was a lot of technical terms in there, a lot of medical terms in there. They use big fancy words. I think the more money you spend on a test or some sort of assessment, the more fancy words you get in that test and or assessment. Maybe that's how they feel you're getting your value. But basically, they were saying that my daughter um, has, and they named whatever she had, and I forget the technical terms, but basically, my daughter wouldn't be able to learn. That's basically in a nutshell what they were saying, which immediately translated to me because I'm old, grew up, born in born in 1970, grew up through the 70s and 80s. To me, it was like, oh, we're talking short bus. Like my child has some sort of disorder because the name of whatever it was ended with disorder, and she's never gonna be quote unquote normal when it came to academics. And that was one of the hardest things to hear, one of the hardest things to endure. It was a head scratcher. I come out of that meeting, I was numb. Like, what do you mean? And I'm trying to figure out, like, well, I'm asking questions in the meeting, like, will my daughter be able to go to college? Like, will she be able to have a job? Like, could she be trained on the job? Like, what does this mean? And, they kind of talked around it or whatever. They tried to make it sound as pleasant as possible, but nah, they were basically saying it was a wrap. Like, it was a wrap for my little girl when it came to that, right? So I was like, wow, and it was a lot going on. Like another show that we're going to do in the future, talking about the family court system. I have a son as well, and we're going to talk about that at a later date. But even so, I'm dealing with the family court system and like child support and court hearings and court ordered counseling because the other person is whatever. I'm dealing with that, and I'm also trying to get my daughter sorted out academically, and it was a lot. It was a whole lot, and it got to a point where I really couldn't focus. My doctor prescribed me some meds that were slightly mind altering meds to help me relax so I can sleep and I can deal with um, those emotions and whatnot. And as an air traffic controller, anything that alters your mind state, uh, the Federal Aviation Administration frowns on. Hold on one second. I'm about to talk to Ty. What up, bro? Thirty, 35 minutes. All right, cool. I'm on the show right now, man. Say hi to everybody. So I'll fill time for. Yeah. Yeah. Bet. Bet. I'll be waiting. Good looking out. Appreciate it, brother. Peace. You'll never see that on CNN or NBC because it's just me, as y'all can see. We just working it out, and that's my good friend Ty Barnett, who was a solid brother, and he's helping me out as well. I'll do anything for him, and obviously he'll do anything for me. So anyway, back to my daughter. I was dealing with all that. The FAA, air traffic control, we have to, as an air traffic controller, you have to get what's called a flight physical. You have to go to the flight surgeon. You have to be deemed fit to do the job. Obviously, you're dealing with airplanes. You're dealing with lives. If you make some mistakes, things could get pretty bad pretty quick. So they don't like anything that has to do with your state of mind. They don't like anything that's going to mess up your ability to think and think quickly and process. So I lost my medical. And it was just one of those decisions you have to make. Like, do I take care of my physical health? Do I take care of my mental well-being? Or do I work? So I chose to take care of myself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's only one of me, and it is what it is. The FAA pulled my medical, so I can't ever do that job again. I mean, people always say, well, you can get your medical back. It ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. I'm 51. I'll be 52 years old at the end of this year. Mandatory retirement in air traffic control is 56. You're looking at least a 3 to 5 year process of even trying to regain that medical. Yes, it can be done, but it's a very, very long road. So I was pretty much done. That was it. No more air traffic control for me. No career. I'm done. Retired. So I grabbed my daughter and we moved to Florida, to Tampa, and I have family here. It made sense. So I got here October of 2020. October of 2020, I got here. Got my daughter sorted out. Got my daughter in school. I moved to the best school district that I could. Again, I have family here. They told me where I wanted to be. I based everything on the school district. Like, this is the best school district. And I was focused on middle school because we were at the end of the run in high school. By this time, my daughter was in the 5th grade. But again, she was testing at like a 2nd to 3rd grade level academically. So I did my research and I was looking at some other options. Like, there are some specialized schools here in the Tampa area that are private. They're kind of pricey, but they specialize in this sort of thing. So I was kind of looking at that as a backup. I'm like, you know what? Let me try the public school system first because the school system here got some really high marks. So that's what we did. We get her in school. This was October of 2020. So here we are, early part of 2022. And my daughter just took a battery of tests because, that's all we do in this country. We test kids. We test. I don't know if we really teach them anything, but we test, and then more testing. So my daughter tested. We got the results from her latest battery of tests. It's like the big statewide thing where they compare all the kids to everybody else in the city, in the state, in the nation. My daughter shows me her test results. So now my daughter is at a 7th grade level. What's good, Miss AK lady? Good evening. Good to see you. Thanks for showing the love and support. I am stalling for time right now. We just waiting on my buddy Ty Barnett to join, and we're gonna get the show really going. But I was just telling the story of my daughter and her academic struggles, and why I chose Florida and what happened to me the last couple of years in California. And so when my daughter gets here, she took this test. Like I said, we got here the October of 2020, and here we are, first part of 2022. And my daughter goes from testing at a 2nd or 3rd grade level in 5th grade. Now she's in 6th grade. She's in middle school, and she's testing at a 7th grade level. So as you know, Uncle Saint was ecstatic. I am ecstatic. I'm so proud of my daughter. She's doing the work. She's pushing through, just like her dad, just like that flag back there. She's not a quitter. There's no quit in her at all. She hates school, but she does it anyway. She does it to the best of her ability, and she is excelling. Yeah, we're getting her help. Yeah, we have tutors. Yeah, we're doing all that. But she's doing the work. So I am so happy for my little girl. That's for her for being so amazing and taking care of business. As beautiful to hear, it's beautiful to say, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I was crushed when the professionals, those highly educated people, and no shade to them, they're just doing their job. They're trained, and they're just following their training. When they told me that my daughter would never ever excel academically, ever, like I mean, to the point where they had me really thinking my daughter was gonna be like Forrest Gump. Like, I'm gonna have to figure something out. Like, what's going on? Like she's not really gonna be able to go to college. Like, how's she gonna be able to work? She's not gonna be able to, be effectively trained. Like, I didn't know what to do. I'm sitting here trying to figure it out. And here we are. I'm so happy. So happy. So definitely gonna do a show on that, to talk about our educational system, to talk about how we are so quick as a society to label and throw away people so quick. And then we get these people, with a bunch of letters behind their names, with these degrees and in these titles, and they come and they're like, yeah, that person, throw them away. That person, what I mean, they're never gonna be able to do this, that, and the third. That person, give them finger paint, like whatever they say, right? So whatever they say, and they're so quick to do that. Miss AK later, as my grandma would say, but God, yeah, I give you that. I will absolutely give you that. And yeah. And as y'all know, I'm not crazy religious. I'm spiritual. I am. And I believe in the stories. And I believe in the teachings, but I do have my issues with the politics behind our religion as we know it. Man's, version of religion. I do have my problems with that, but I do believe in the teachings, as I say. So I'm happy. I'm real happy. I'm so proud of my daughter. I mean, she's making it happen. And throughout this process, we did have to hold her back a grade before we got here, to Florida. And, the question is going to arise at some point, like, oh, do you want to put her back into her grade level? Or maybe there will be a discussion of maybe even pushing her up to some advanced classes, but I don't plan to do all that. I'm not going to rip her from her friends and her social world that she's built and the things that she's doing. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that at all. But I am so proud of my little girl. So, yeah, that's what's up. Miss AK, what's going on? Where are you on in the country? I want to say you're in the South. And again, I appreciate all your support. Like, you just been rocking with me. And I'm, coming over. Oh, you from Florida? Okay, me too. That's what's up. You've been rocking with me. Coming over from Suzette Speaks. Got so much respect for Suzette, what she's doing. And she has some really amazing people over there. I rock with y'all, even though, y'all Bravo Popple over there, BP for sure. But like I said, I'm gonna get y'all over to the art, closer to the Romeo Papa side. I'm not gonna expect you to jump over the fence, but closer. Closer. Jason Johnson in the house was good. Good evening, my brother. Good evening to you. Thank you for the support. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, man. Just sitting here hollering Miss AK lady, giving her flowers for being such an amazing person and holding it down. And yeah, man, I feel you, bro. Jason Johnson, Romeo Papa all day, baby. Yeah. And yo, Jason, for you, did you ever serve? Did you serve in the military? If so, what branch, brother? If so, let me know. Let me know what branch. And Miss AK, I don't pop pills. I'm a whole woman. Yo, that's what's up. Hey man, people need labels, right? My views are mine alone, but it's easier for me to use the established labels so people know what's going on. It's just easier. It makes the conversation flow a little better if I could just say Romeo Pop about something real quick, or I could say Bravo Pop about something real quick. You know what I mean? But in the real world, it's so much. It's so complicated. It's just not that simple. It's just not that simple. And Jason, I am not serving. It's all good though, bro. It's all good. But we just in here rocking out. I love that. Don't pop pills. That's funny. You Miss AK, you crazy. But thank you for your service. You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. Absolutely. I'll let you in on a little secret about my service. I didn't do it for anyone but me. Be honest with you. It was later in life, as I began to mature, that I truly understood what it meant to serve from a civilian standpoint. I knew what it meant for me to serve. Since I was a little one, I always wanted to be in the military. Ask anyone in my family, all my aunts and uncles, they would all tell you, like, yeah, Don was going to be an army man. They used to all say that. And it wasn't that I wanted to be in the army. To tell the truth, I wanted to join the Marine Corps. They got the best uniforms, and they're just so hardcore. But the thing with the Marine Corps is they didn't then, and I don't think now, they did not guarantee any type of training or anything like that. When you enlisted, that's it. The Marine Corps did whatever they wanted to do with you. And there were certain things I had to get out of the deal. Not just going to have me doing something I don't want to do. You know what I mean? I'm already signing my life away for a little bit. At least let me get an opportunity to get some sort of training out of it. And the Army, there's two things that the Army guaranteed training. And if you got it in the contract, that was it. If you failed any portion of the training, then they could put you anywhere. Right? That's just how I think that still works the same today. And one thing I had to be airborne. I wanted, as a little kid, I loved jumping off stuff. You know what I mean? It just started from jumping off the bed, jumping off a chair, jumping off the table. So I got to where I would jump off the garage. Right? Our roof was too high, so I didn't jump off of that. But I jumped out of trees. I just loved jumping out. I just loved the way it felt when the wind rushed by. Right? So I did all that. And I gotta tell you, when I figured out that the Army will train you and allow you to jump out of airplanes, I couldn't pass that up. I just could not pass that up. And you got to wear the high speed beret, get shiny jump boots. And then I learned about the history of the paratrooper, like the American paratrooper, the airborne. I got to learn about all that. Learned about Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yeah, I had to have it. Had to have it. So when I went to enlist, quick story about my enlistment. I'm sitting there, I've taken my ASVAB. I've done all that good stuff. I've scored high. I did everything. And I'm sitting down with the recruiter. The recruiter's like, what do you want to do? What job do you want? I'm like, I want to be airborne. And he's like, that's not a job. It's a qualification. I'm like, jumped out of airplanes, right? He's like, yes. I'm like, sounds like a job to me. That's what I want to do. And he was like, well, I can get you airborne depending on what job you want. And I didn't know. I did not know this part. It was like all the movies you see, they just sign up. They sign on the bottom line, they enlist, and then they put them on a bus and off they go to the Army, go to basic training. I thought it was going to be something like that. Nah. We got to give you a job where you want. I said, okay. My father, he served in the Army, Vietnam era. All right, so he was an MP, military police. I'm like, okay, I'll be an MP. I want to be an MP. And the recruiter sits back in his chair. He's like, okay, great. I can definitely get you MP, but I can't guarantee you airborne school. But once you get in there, you get through your training, you can apply once you're in the Army, and they'll get you in there. Now, I already knew that was cap. I knew that was game. That much I knew. Whatever you want, you better get it in writing. So I'm like, look, I can't. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Well, I sat back in my chair and I'm like, well, if I can't be an MP, I don't know what to be. And I'm sitting there and I'm in the recruiter's office and I'm looking around and they got all these pictures of recruiter pictures, right? All over the place. And it was 11 Bravo and a bunch of stuff in the 11 series, right? Well, the Combat Arms series, like 11 Bravo and all this other kind of stuff, Combat Arms, the grunts and stuff, right? And 11 Bravo then was infantry. Right, that's it. That's the guys out there, the trigger pullers, the straight infantry. And it was a picture of these guys in a with their legs hanging out. It was a Black Hawk helicopter sitting there, the door open. These guys are sitting there with their machine guns and their weapons and this and that. Got one guy had an M60 and he had all of his bullets draped around him like Rambo. The other guy had an M203, was like basically an M16 with a grenade launcher on it. The other guy had his M16. They're all smiling, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this poster, and I know like infantry, I definitely get airborne. So I was this close to saying, hey, how about 11 Bravo, when the recruiter was like, hey, do you want to be an air traffic controller? And I looked at him like, the guy's in the tower, and the recruiter had to read it. He's reading the job description. He was like, yeah, says here, guys in the tower, says something about radar technician or something. But yeah, the air traffic controllers, the guys who talk to the airplanes. You qualify for that. Would you like that job? I'm like, can I be airborne? Yes, I can guarantee you airborne school with this MOS. Deal. And that's how I ended up in the United States Army as an air traffic controller, which was 93 Charlie, 93C. So my paperwork said 93C 1P, which 93 Charlie, 1 Papa, which was the airborne school identifier. And the rest was history. The rest was history. So, Miss AK Lady, I was in the process of compiling my Naval Academy application. Ooh, then 9/11 happened, and my dad stopped that real quick. Off to college I went. LOL. I was born on Fort Bragg, for my information. Oh, where you now? So, that's crazy. You were going to go to Naval Academy, which you still should have gone. You still should have gone. You probably would have wound up in Naval Intelligence, which is hardcore, which would have put you into the CIA or something like that, or DIA or whatever. You would have been super spy or something like that, the female version of James Bond. And I'm assuming dad or mom or dad was in the military. Thank you. Do me a favor, thank them for their service. And who was it and what did they do? I'm curious. If your mom or dad was a paratrooper, then I would be very, very impressed, and I would probably send them a bottle or something if they drink. So, but yeah, coming out of Annapolis, the Naval Academy, that's hood right there. That's real hood. So all right, I did have a backup for our show today, but Ty did call, and he is taking care of some things. Sound like he was in the car, so he has to run and pick up a couple things. Ty's married, has a wonderful wife, and they live in California. Whenever you jump in your car and drive somewhere, that's 25 minutes. I don't care where you're going. I don't care if you're in the car. It's gonna be at least 25 minutes. If you're going somewhere real, it's gonna be 45 minutes. I can remember once I was coming out of Santa Monica. I was on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I'm trying to get to the freeway. I could see the freeway. It couldn't have been no more than a quarter of a mile, maybe half a mile away. And it took me 2 hours. 2 hours. We just didn't move. I don't know what was going on. I didn't see any police. I didn't see any fires. It's just LA was horrific. That was back in the early 2000s. LA is horrific. When people complain about traffic, if you ain't been to LA or South Korea, you don't know about traffic. I'm here to tell you, man, I can't even do it. And Dad, Army, don't know his job though. He discharged when I was super young. Cool. Ask your dad if he's airborne. Next time you see him, ask him if he's airborne. Because for a bag, you never know. Your dad could have been Delta Force, could have been a Green Beret, could have been a Ranger. He could have been a real Billy Badass. You just don't know. He might still be doing it, and you just don't know. That's how they rock. Think Dad's all old, moving around in this with his crutch, with his cane or whatever. Nah, that's all smoke and mirrors. He's probably General so-and-so taking care of business. And that's Ty right there. He says it should be about 5 to 7 minutes. I can do that. I'm a stand-up comedian. I know how to stretch things. So yeah, that was my that's how I got into the Army. That's how they got me. They didn't get me, I got them. I was going to join the United States Army no matter what. I'm sorry, I just was going to do it. Academically, I squandered any chances of really doing anything, getting into any top tier schools or anything like that. Cause I was kind of a knucklehead. I was in the streets doing all that kind of craziness. Um, I could have focused. I was a smart kid. And my teacher used to get really, really frustrated. Yes, I got a long stroke because I'm waiting on my guest. I got to. Now I know what it is. Y'all kept saying this about the lead attorney and Suzette. Yeah, I'm long stroking for a reason, y'all. I'm waiting on my guest. I'm waiting on my guest, but I'm definitely gonna long stroke this one. And I brought my little drinky drink. If anybody's wondering, I'm a cognac guy. Cognac. I love cognac. So whatever. Just so y'all know, if you see me somewhere, I got a drinky drink. That's what it is. If it don't have any ice in it, that means I'm drinking that top shelf. If it does have ice in it, it is what it is. But stand-up comedy, yo, I remember like the first time I ever got on stage to do comedy. It's a Comedy Store, got 3 minutes. I'd never been so scared in my life. That was, I can remember the first time I jumped out of an airplane. It was nothing. I was so excited. I was so ready to go. They get you so amped up and ready to do that. Like the airborne training is no joke. They really get you ready. So the first jump, no problem. I mean, they had us so amped up, we probably would have walked out without a parachute. They just had us believing if we executed the perfect parachute landing fall from 2,600 feet, that we get up and go back and get some more. Don't try it. Don't try it. 2,600 feet above the ground. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. You ain't getting up. You ain't getting up. So I can remember that. Yes, Miss AK Lady, I am a stand-up comedian. I am. So when I was in LA, when I was working in my career, 1998, I started as an air traffic controller. The early 2000s, I got into stand-up comedy. It was stress relief for me. It was stress relief. It was fun. I loved it. And it was a great world. No one knew me. I just went. I went in there. I was like, I'm gonna get into an open mic, and I went through the process. And it took me a couple weeks to even get on stage. At a Comedy Store, it was called Potluck. You had to literally reach into a hat and draw a number, and you draw a piece of paper. If it had a number on it, that number was the slot in a lineup that you would perform. So if you reach in there and you draw like a number 8, you're the 8th comic the following week. So you would draw, and then if you got a number the following week, you would perform. So I went to the Potluck, and it must have taken me 2 or 3 weeks to draw a number, and it was crazy. So during that process, you meet other stand-up comedians, which are open micers, which are people who are just getting started. Sometimes it's comedians who have been doing it for a while, and they just relocated to LA and they're trying to get into the biz. So back then at the Comedy Store, they didn't, unless you were a major comedian and you had people to vouch for you, that's the only way you would get in. You had to perform on that show. And if you did have some clout, they simply wouldn't make you pull a number. They would put you in the show and watch you, basically audition you. That's how they did it. So I would, I got my number. I got 3 minutes. And by this time, I knew how the process worked because I've been sitting there and they have a little corral area in the back of the club in the original room, the OR, and that's where the comics would sit. And you would just watch the shows, not just the open mic show, but you could watch the entire show for the night. You could sit in there all night if you want to. So I would sit there and I got to know who were the good comics, who were the up and coming guys and girls. And I could watch all of the open micers perform. And it was my turn finally after a few weeks. And I had the worst 3 minutes ever. So hacky. My material was just god awful. And I'm the kind of comedian that I don't sit down and just write. My process is different. I can't sit down, pen and paper, and just start writing jokes. That's not how I do it. I observe life, and then I have premises that enter my head, and I'll work it out in my head, and I'll go on stage and I'll try it. Now, if after I've tried it a few times, if it kind of works, if I get some laughs, then I'll write it down so I don't forget. And then I'll continue to build on that premise. So I'm sitting there, I'm like practicing in the mirror with my hot 3 minutes. And yeah, I got up on stage and man, I tell you, talk about being nervous. The brother was nervous. And I get up there and I go on stage and there was like a busload of tourists. This is on Sunset Boulevard. This is in Hollywood. This is when Sunset was still popping. That's back when Dublin's was like a thing. And that's, one of the Jay-Z songs where we was talking about bubbling in Dublin's. He was talking about that club, which was down the street. And they had at that time probably the biggest comedy show. Probably definitely in California, maybe the country was jumping off back then. Jay Davis ran it. Shout out to you, Jay Davis. It was a Tuesday night at Dublin's. It was crazy. So, I mean, that was Dane Cook ruled that spot. That's before Dane Cook became mega famous, and then whatever happened to him. But Dane Cook was like the man, and every comedian that was on the first 2 seasons of Last Comic Standing all performed at Dublin's, all of them. Ralphie May, Tammy Pascatelli was in there. Who else was on there? Alonzo Bolton. All these comedians were performing at Dublin's, and every Tuesday, Dane Cook closed out the show. He had every college girl in Southern California in Dublin's upstairs, packed out, coming in there for Dane. He could do no wrong. It was, to see it was just amazing. Like, you couldn't film it or whatever because it didn't translate the film. It didn't translate at all because you people always talk about energy. That was truly energy in there. It was crazy energy in there. And Dane Cook would just lift his hand up and people fall down laughing. It was the craziest thing. But his material was on point. Now, I didn't know anything about Dane Cook at this point. All I knew is he was the guy that crushed every Tuesday at Dublin's. That's all I knew. And I wasn't, he was a Laugh Factory guy. I never went to the Laugh Factory back then. It was always Comedy Store. And I didn't know anything about the Dane Cook, and he would take your material. And I didn't know anything about none of that. All I knew is this guy could not be touched on stage. And I was seeing some of the best comedians ever perform, and they couldn't touch Dane. And I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know he was like the hottest selling comic at the time. Like, his album was like going platinum and all that kind of stuff, which was unheard of. But he commanded the legion of college girls. They loved him. So whatever he told them to do, they did. They were going to every record store. That's when we had record stores, and they would make sure that his product was at the front of the aisle or whatever. They made sure that they was going in there. They was buying it. They was making the simp dudes buy them that stuff. All that. They say, "Okay, yeah, he was hilarious. What happened to him? He got rich. Dane Cook got rich. He became a Hollywood. He was an A-lister. He might still be a B-lister today. I mean, his net worth is probably north of $5 million today. If I were to somewhere between 5 and 12 million. You should look it up. Dane Cook got into the upper echelon. That's what happened. Like, you always hear me talking about Hollywood, and a lot of it sounds negative. And it's not that I mean to sound negative about Hollywood. It's its own machine, right? People, they go out there and they're like, I want to be big. I want this. And it's like, be careful what you wish for, because if you get it out there, anything could happen, right? Anything could happen. And I know a lot of people out there who getting it in Hollywood, man. Not a lot of them are real happy. Not a lot at all. So my long stroking is over. You dig? Because the man, the myth, the legend is here. Ty Barnett in the house, y'all. What's up, Ty?
What up, man? Sorry for the delay. It's good.
Bro, that's my fault, man. I'm the one that messed this up. We were supposed to do this at 5 o'clock.
It's all right. What's good? What we talking about?
Oh, bro, I was sitting here talking about comedy. I was talking about my enlistment to the United States Army story. I talked about how I got recruited, what I did, how I became a paratrooper. And I was talking about my first time on stage at the Comedy Store doing, the potluck. Because you never had to do potlucks. So I was talking about how some comics didn't have to do it. Ty was one of those comics didn't have to do potluck, but he had to perform at that show. They didn't make him reach into the thing and pull out a number. but they didn't give him love either when it came to
And
like a slot.
the whenever I hear the horror stories about the potluck, man, I'm always like, golly, bro. I because I know I don't have the patience for it, and I'm saying that because I know all the shit they put comedians through. So that was also part of the reason why when I came to Los Angeles, I wanted to already have something established. I came with a plan, bro, because I was like, now let me just, I'm sorry, I should have said it this way. If I would have come to Los Angeles without a plan and thought to do it the same way other people did, I would have done it because that's what I would have known to do. But luckily, since I had to plan my shit out, I kind of would come down, network, and then I would hear about the potlucks and stuff. So, but I also was like, hey, let me make a contact here. Let me get a phone number here, well, or a card, which is should tell you how long ago this shit was.
Right, a card.
We're handing out business cards and shit, right? And so I would get business cards and really link up with people and be like, yo, next time I'm in town, if I can jump on your show, that'd be great. So I was fortunate, and I had other stuff popping off, like television wise, a couple of things was popping off. So I was fortunate enough to not have to do that because I was just like, man, I don't, because I felt bad for the Laugh Factory comics that I would drive past the Laugh Factory at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, be a long ass line there. I'm like, and it's like, yeah, man, they just trying to get 2 or 3 minutes. They hoping to get
No,
2 or 3 minutes.
3 minutes, bro. Ain't no hoping to get two. Nah, it's three. It's 3 minutes. You got lit at like 2 minutes and 45 seconds of shit. And they were like, you better get right off. And I stood in that line at the Laugh Factory. I stood in that line, bro. After I kind of worked my way up a little bit at the Comedy Store, and I got to the point where they would give me like a little popping status for the open mic show. Like not for the regular show, but I come in and they'll like, okay, Don Lewis, okay, 4 minutes, okay, 7 minutes or something like that. But it took me about a year and a half to get to that status. You know what I mean? And by that time, of course, I had 15 minutes of material. Now it was probably like 2 years. It took me 2 years to get to that status, bro. Right? Because it was when I met you that I was getting to the point where I made enough noise the Comedy Store would let me come in. They let me park my car in the back. Like everybody knew me. I was running rooms. I was, you know what I mean? But that's the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
They ain't got nothing to do with the Improv. They ain't got nothing to do with the Laugh Factory. You have to start at the beginning.
Yep. And that's what I said, man. It's so the process itself was really I think like, and I think I told you this last time, like my grind was a lot different. My grind was like, land, because I was still living in Seattle because my kids was little. So I would land already with an itinerary in mind already. Like the last thing I was thinking about doing was partying and doing all that stuff. That was always like if it happened, but it never was like go to this party, go to this bar. It was like hit this club, go over to this club, do this spot, network here for a little bit. All right, this is what after thing is, cool. Go here for a second and then sleep for a little bit, get on the plane and go back up to Seattle. So I was laser focused, so much so to where I don't think I couldn't even tell you any time I really just sat back and enjoyed being in Los Angeles like that. I was working.
Right. And I was playing. I was having a good time. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. Jay Swans, that's my dude right there, man. That's my jump buddy, man. My brother from another mother, man. What's good, man? Thanks for supporting your boy, man. Hollywood folks are all crazy. Yeah. And I can attest to that. I was crazy when I was out there too. I'm still crazy though. Also, he's like, tell him how you almost broke your ass on the jump. Which jump, bro? You got to be more specific. Because come on now. How about I tell him about the time you got your concussion for the first time? Yeah. How about tell him about that? When you got your what do they call that? What they call that? The concussion protocols, whatever.
Man, my head hurt just hearing y'all talk about that.
Oh, bro, we got stories.
I couldn't even do it. I fell off the climbing the poles. I remember falling off the pole and yeah, man. So
Yeah. It's CTE.
Needless to say, I know what y'all talking about, but I'm glad I don't know what y'all talking about.
Oh man, CTE. I could tell that story. How about that, Jay Swans? I tell about the first time you got CTE. How about that? It happened like every other jump because he had so much equipment. He's a big dude. You know, he was like 6'4", 225 pounds, like zero body fat, man, pure aggression. Man, we put everything on him, man. He jumped, he jumped with. I had about 60 pounds. He had to be jumping with like 80, 85 pounds.
Wow.
Had to be. We'll talk about that. Needs Washers, what's good? Salute to the chat. Salute to you, brother. Yo, I've been checking out your content. Y'all go check him out. Needs Watches. If you're even thinking about watches, timepieces, high end timepieces, that whole world, because it's a world out there, and I'm new to it. Like I'm starting
Already
up.
know.
Yo, bro, and Needs, yo, just so you know, Ty's a Breitling guy, so I think my next one's gonna be a Breitling.
Already know.
Yeah, my next one's gonna be a Breitling. I'm looking at a Breitling right now. I'm looking at an IWC, but I think I'm gonna go with the Breitling. And then I'm working on something for that IWC. I'm trying to get my hands on a Rolex. Yo, go check him out. He is spot on with what he's talking about. He's a real dude. I hope I can work with him.
Did I tell you? I was like, so. I was talking about this with my wife the other day. It's like when we first used to go to New York, we used to go down to Canal Street, and we used to cop the fake ones, the fake.
Right.
And I remember one time, bro, I bought a Breitling dude that looked, and it looked real, man. Like they tried to give me for more, but I was like, come on, man, I know where we at. I'm not gonna give you nothing. You get $200. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, no problem, bro. That's my dude. Don and I've been rocking for a long time, bro. So I bought this Breitling, and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't tell. And so about after 2 or 3 weeks, one of the dials came off. We should tell you something already.
Right off rip.
When it came off, it was still such a dope looking watch that I was like, maybe I could still rock this and nobody would know. And so needless to say, I didn't, but I said, you know what, maybe I get the dial fixed. I'm gonna take it to a Breitling store and get it fixed. Bro, when I tell you I walked into the Breitling store, it must have been not even 15 feet away. I'm holding the watch in my hand like this. The lady is across the way, and I said, yeah, I'm just trying to come in and get this fixed. No bullshit, bro. She was like, that's not real.
Right. Get out.
All I could do was turn around and walk out. That's all. I didn't even put up no front. I didn't even try to be like, what do you mean it's not real? This is bullshit. I was like, touche. Touche, ma'am. Touche. And I just bounced. But my point is that once I got my first real one, which is a Bentley, once I got my first real one, I was like, that's it, man. I can't cop no more fake watches, bro. I can't cop no more fake watches. So every time I go to New York now, I don't even go back to Canal Street.
I gotta keep it 100 with you, Ty. I'm mad at you, bro. I ain't gonna lie, because you don't want to get me on this. Man, this is not a cheap hobby, player.
Yeah.
This is not a cheap hobby. So
what your boy needs watches, hey man. Listen, man, I learned, like, I'm not a super flashy guy. Like you're not gonna see a lot of bling bling. I mean, I got these same earrings I've had for years, but they also not big. They not like super big. And I've never been like a super diamond out chain. I've never been a dude. Watches has always been my thing. Like and I forgot who told me this, man, but they said you can dress in sweats, but if you got on a nice watch, it don't matter that you're wearing sweats. And I've rocked those Breitlings many times, like traveling, because like sometimes I would travel with one on. I don't do it anymore now. I just kind of pack them, but I don't travel with them on. But I'd be wearing sweats, and you can tell somebody will look at the watch and be like, "Oh, it's nice." I'm like, and it's real too, motherfucker.
Yeah. They're like, where'd he steal it from? Yeah, where'd you get that from?
Oh,
listen. Listen.
You got to get the papers, man. You got to get the papers.
Yeah, in the big box. Listen, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all a story about how my man Ty Barnett almost bodied everybody at TSA at LAX.
Wait, what story is that?
This man decides, like he said, he doesn't wear his watches when he travels. And I'm like, you need to put them on, man. I don't care if you got 3 or 4, put them all on. Don't pack them away. So Ty would take them and like put them inside of a sock. and then take that sock and put it inside of something else, and then take that and put it inside of something else, thinking, oh, it's gonna be all right. It's like your boy in Friday. I'm just gonna tuck mine in. I'm just gonna tuck it in.
Fucking
Right, gets
bro.
to his destination. Look at me, y'all. He mad already. Let me put him on the big screen. He already mad. He ain't gonna make it through this. Get to where he's going, and they got him for the watch.
Man, you know what, bro? And I told you this. I remember the conversation we had, and I remember saying, now don't get me wrong, it was still it wasn't the most expensive watch. It was a pricey watch. It was a Hamilton, which is also a good brand too. I do like Hamilton too.
Needs
But
watches, is that a good brand? Let us know, man. Needs watches Hamilton, because I got a Hamilton too.
yeah, I like Hamilton because those are the watches that I will wear. Like if I'm wearing just like if I'm just walking around sometimes.
Yeah, every
But
day.
you know what I'm saying? But like so this in that particular watch, I was like, oh, it's dope, and it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. So I was like, let me go ahead, let me get this. And at the time, that's how I would pack. I would pack it in the sock and then put it in the shoe. Like you would have to look for the fucking watch in order to steal it. Like it wouldn't just fall out when you open the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like so, so you would have to be looking for it. And I remember saying this, dude. I remember calling American Airlines. That's who stole it, American Airlines. I remember going to the counter, talking to the people, and the lady told me, looked me straight in the face. She's like, "Why would you pack it?" And I'm like, "Bitch, is that the answer you give? You tell me I'm wrong for trusting y'all to not steal? Man, I'll never forget that. And to this day, every time American does something wrong, I remind them of the fact that they stole from me. But two things came out of that. One, I said I'll never pack ever again in that ever. I'll never pack anything valuable in it. Nothing, not a single thing. That's why I always carry a backpack, and I just keep it in the backpack with me. And then I did also say, I said, man, you know what? If it would have been the only reason I didn't totally stress is because it was the Hamilton. Even though I was pissed, like I told you, if it would have been the Breitling, hey man, all I'm telling you is it wouldn't have turned out as casual as it did.
Yeah, this if they got that one, this would be live from Sing Sing right now.
Oh,
like,
if
hey,
they would have stole my Breitlings. If they would, because at the time I think I still only had two at the time, and the one that I traveled with was the Bentley, and so I was just like, wait a minute, they would have. I said, man, thank God. I said, thank God I didn't bring it on this trip. I said, if they would have done that, bro, that'd have been a wrap.
and you remember the story when you told me the story? I was like, why'd you do that? Which wasn't helping your situation. Like everybody, like, why did you do that? Like, man, you sound like American. I'm just saying.
Well, because here's the thing, bro. You would assume, because again, think about what it took to get that watch. Like I said, it wasn't in an area where you would open the thing up, even if you're going through TSA, to where you would look at it and like, oh, look at this shit. You had to open it, lift the thing, unzip a thing.
No, Ty, they ran it through the X-ray, bro. They saw it in the X-ray. They didn't do all that.
But that's my point. To get to it,
yeah.
In order to get to it, you still had to move some shit around. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like I said, I don't travel with them anymore. Thank goodness my wife actually ended up buying me a replacement watch, the replacement Hamilton, not the replacement Breitling. Replacement Hamilton, which I do appreciate. So I still keep it, and it's still a dope watch. As a matter of fact, I just wore it at a show this past weekend.
Yeah, that's my man Jay Swans. He's always talking about don't let Jay Swans fool y'all. The brother papered up. He talking all this crazy stuff, man. But he like, I still be wearing the fake. I do all of that. Whatever, man. Whatever.
Rolex.
Right. Yeah, the Rolex. Nah, man. Like, dude papered up, hey, man.
That's the other thing. That yes, the Bentley is a collector's item now because they no longer are partnered. I found this out in Chicago. They're no longer partnered. Breitling and Bentley are no longer partnered. So that line of watches won't ever come out again. So it's worth even more now.
Yep, and Needs Watches always says that Hamilton is heavy military heritage. Yes, I got one. And like I said, I like it now. Like, having a watch collection is cool. We really do need to work on buying more assets than liabilities. And when I buy these watches, it's cool. It's great. It helps me when I network. And guess what? When I'm gone, my daughter will have this. It's all for my daughter, and she'll be able to do whatever she wants with it because most of the watches in my collection have appreciated. So, and
Yeah.
now that I'm watching these watches, right? Bro, you got me looking at the tutors, man. We need to talk, bro. We need to talk, man. I need to get you on here. We're gonna do a show on watches, man. I'm throwing
Man,
that out there right now.
let me tell you something, man. When you have and again, these aren't even super flashy. They're nice. Like you can tell when it's a nice watch, but those are the ones that I like. I like the ones that you can tell are nice but aren't gaudy. So like I've tried on like a blinged out Breitling. I remember trying on one. It looked good in the case. In the
But that
case,
ain't you, bro.
great.
That ain't you.
Dude, as soon as I put it on, I was like, nah, I'm good. It ain't my thing, bro.
That ain't you, man. Like,
So
if I was to see you in a supercar, it wouldn't be a Ferrari, it wouldn't be a Lamborghini. It maybe would be an Aston Martin. You know what I mean? I see you
yeah,
as
but
that type of dude.
even then, like I just don't want to attract too much attention. Like I like nice, but not. You see the car drive. Like I like that car because it's a nice car, but it's not like a let me fuck with this motherfucker car.
Well, yeah. Let me put the thing to his head, Carl. You're right about that.
Exactly.
And then and y'all, I see I've been skipping over. I'm gonna show every single chat. Thank you for the interaction. I appreciate it. But I might not read them all. But I definitely, I will see it. Uh, yeah. Oh, and he was like, "These watchers would love to have you guys come up on a live stream on Sunday." I'll be there, bro. I'll be there Sunday. I know I have one commitment. I got to jump on a Zoom call at some point. I think on Sunday. But you're on my calendar, bro. I plan on being there. I'm definitely gonna rock with you, man. I'm 100% gonna rock with you, man. Um, so thanks for being here, man. Thanks for supporting Jay Swan's Fresh to Hollywood stuff, man. You know what? I'm gonna start putting Jay Swan's stuff up on the screen. I'm just gonna stop doing it. So look, Ty, we're here. Let's get into it, bro. Like I love just kicking it, but I already did the long stroking. And long stroking, I didn't know what that was, but apparently when you do a lot of fluff in the front, you stretch things out. And that's been coined by the lead attorney. I've caught a couple of his shows. I haven't really caught a whole bunch. I see a lot on the replay or whatever. I do go and I support the brother as well because he supports Suzette Speaks, and Suzette Speaks is my people. So whoever she rock with, I'm definitely gonna rock with. If she tell me go do something like go support somebody, I'm gonna do it. So anyway, something I want to show you, bro. Before we get into everything crazy, I want to show you this. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. J.R. Smith, former NBA player who became a college golfer, gets groundbreaking Lululemon NIL deal. Did you know this?
I knew that he was playing golf. I didn't know about the Lululemon deal, but I knew he was playing. I think the article that was trying to say how to make a white sport more black. I think that's how
Oh,
the article, the headline that I saw showing him, and good for him, man. I mean, look, bro, as a comedian, like I know a lot of comedians that play golf. And so every once in a while, somebody like, you don't play, you don't try to play. I'm like, nah, I don't know if I got that kind of patience, bro, to learn how
he
to.
said, I don't know if I like y'all enough for all that.
Well, plus you got to, and cats be getting up super early to do all. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not doing all that. But for Jr., I mean, he's already athletic, so a lot of those cats already same thing, same as with comedians. They play golf in the off time. Jordan is famous for that, so they all do that. And if the dude got good enough to, get some other paper, more power to him, bro.
And what I like most about it,
I'm sure they don't drug test for golf.
well, I don't know, it's NCAA, so that I think their rules are a little different. But here's the thing. Here's what I like about it. First of all, his commitment to go back and get his education, to get his degree, because he went to the league right out of high school.
Oh, I did
Right.
not.
So yeah, he never went to college. Hence, he still has his eligibility. So for him to go back, first of all, it's like, yo, hats off to that. And
You
then
think what he got his degree in?
I don't recall what he's majoring in right now. I don't recall it was in the article. I would have to go back and research it. But to me, it wasn't it wasn't as important as to what he was majoring in, but the fact that he's going to go back and commit the time to do it. Because let's face it, it's probably costing him money. And I'm not talking about tuition and all that, but the fact that the time needed for him to go to class and all this kind of stuff, he could be making money. And he's going to go back. And I wonder if that was a commitment he made somewhere to someone along the way. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go to the NBA and make all this bread, but then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get that degree. I wonder. But and I'm sure that'll come out at
Well,
some point.
I think, I mean, but also the fact that he did make that money allows him to go and take the time to take classes. He ain't like the average college student that got to, struggle and work in the kitchen.
Exactly.
He can go there and he can stay off campus. He can do all this stuff.
Right. And that brings me to my second point. The second point being he's showing these young athletes the way because now they can go out there and they can get these deals, right? So Lululemon and all these other people, these young kids are sitting there next to a millionaire. They're sitting there next to a guy who performed at the highest level in the NBA and all that good stuff. And he gets to mentor these kids and lead by example. He's at like North Carolina A&T, I think it is. And not just at that college, but other colleges. And I'm pretty sure all of the athletes are reaching out to him. Hey, man, this is the deal. Could you imagine if you're a young athlete and you can make some money, you got these deals coming around, and then you got access to this guy?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And he's like, well, I can't read it, but how my people read it? And I'm pretty sure he's doing that. So it's like, hats off to JR, you know what I mean? And people talk about, because they want to make it sound like, oh, he's ghetto and this, that, and the third. All right, maybe he is, but guess what? But guess what? He's there to help these people do things that they wouldn't have this access otherwise. So shout out to you, brother JR, for making that happen, man. So all right, let's get into. I just saw that when I was watching the game. First of all, you Brooklyn or you Celtics?
I am a realistic fan. I was hoping that Brooklyn was going to do more, but I think it's a wrap, bro. I think KD had 2 bad games in a row. He was 4 for 17 last time I checked, and I don't see it happening for Brooklyn. But to answer your question in a big way, I am a very realistic sports fan. No longer am I the fanatic that I used to be, because that dude would have thrown the fucking remote through the TV watching the game.
I said that when the show started. I'm like, Ty's either jumping up happy or he's jumping up breaking stuff. I don't know which one it is because I didn't know who you were with.
17 points. 17 points, bro. And this is why I say I think it's a wrap. And I don't know what the fuck happened to Kyrie in the fourth quarter, but I'm not saying he didn't. I don't know what happened to him. Like you did not see anything active happening from there, brother. But point being is, I love watching the playoffs the way I watch them now, because I don't get emotionally invested. It's just something to do. But I was looking forward to this game. But yeah, I'm a realistic sports fan, so I can watch it. Oh, it's interesting, and go. That's it.
Yeah, because Ty has a bit. He probably hasn't done this bit in years. But when you were talking about online, when you were online.
With the kid playing.
Yeah. So we ain't got to do it. I'm just saying. I don't want to say a punch. You might want to say it later, but I'm just saying that was. As a matter of fact, we might even, for those of you who stick with us to the end, we might be able to talk Ty into doing, I don't know, like one quick little thing or whatever. Maybe we might be able to talk him into it. Maybe, but because I know his mature. I love comedy like he loves sports, so I know people. I know people's bits. I know their bits, and I will say jokes. I will tell Ty his jokes to him, and he'll be like, "Wait, that's." He let me remember. Like, no, this is the bit.
Jokes. And that's what's hard sometimes. That's why, like, when I do longer sets, like I just came back from Montana, and I had 2 45-minute sets, and I take my notebook with me. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I take my notebook with me, and my notebook has a bunch of little small cards, folded pieces of paper with jokes on them. And I just use my Cliff Notes. I'll just be like, oh, okay. Like I'll say Montana, Waze, getting older, whatever.
GoPro.
GoPro,
Yeah.
So it'll be just those categories, and sometimes I'll have little subcategories so I can remember the other parts. But my point is that I was looking at the set before the show, and I was like, okay, cool. This joke goes like this, and then it goes into that joke. Okay, cool. That's how, because it's been a while since I've done 45 minutes straight. You do 5, 10, 15 minutes here, a pocket here, whatever. So when I'm looking at jokes, and then every once in a while, I'll look on an old piece of paper, bro, and it'll be a joke that I did, and I couldn't even tell you how the joke starts or ends. But it was one of the jokes that was in the rotation.
You just gotta holler at me. If you holler at me and give me the premise, I could probably tell you the joke. If it was over the past 12 years, I remember more of your jokes than I do my own. And I write out my process is a little different. I'll write the entire joke out, but I don't do that until the bit is done. And I told you I lost my my notebook from back in the day. I found it, bro. I found my very first jokes, and God, they were horrible, man. God. So listen, we got Jay Swans in the house, y'all. Like, I got my man over here, man. Don't act up, bro. We about to get into the show. Jay, Ty. Yeah, what's good, man?
Get that right. Hey, Ty, man. If you ever want to play golf, man, you come on up here. You be the other brother on the golf course.
Yeah, he's at Black Diamond, bro.
I gotta do a little bit more practice before I do that, man. I don't have the hand-eye coordination for that.
Brother, we ain't playing like that. You just been after, with the swag on. Got the gear.
Man, I can do that.
So
I'll wear all the watches then.
There you go. With the watch at the drink cart, doing it up. You know how we do it.
I can do that. I can do that.
That's hilarious. I'll try to delve into some chats here. These watches, breaking into these types of spaces is huge for Black folks. Absolutely. A lot of times we need to see ourselves there before the rest of the culture follows. Absolutely. And that's why I like to give you your flowers, bro, because I see a lot of people in the watch space, man, but you're the only one that I've seen. I'm sure there may be some more out there, but you're the only one that I've seen that looks like me. You know what I mean? So I rock with you, bro, and you know what you're talking about, man, and you're fearless with it because everyone else talks about, they say the same stuff. Like you can go to any watch person out there and you probably get the same thing with cars. They all say the same things. You know what I'm saying? But Needs is like, yo, I'm gonna be 100 with it. I'm gonna tell y'all this. You know what I mean? This is what this is, and then start getting to the technical stuff. So, man, keep doing what you're doing, bro. I'm gonna keep rocking with you, man.
I'm kind of mad y'all was talking about my Rolex though. My Rolex,
man, whatever. This man wears tag. you know he's full of it, right? You know he's full of it.
Now I like tag too. I like tag too, and I have my eye on a God damn, I can't think of the brand. The
Casio.
Nah. Hey, Carrera.
Carrera?
The Steve McQueen one?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But it had like a silver bluish face.
It was square?
Say it again?
Was it square?
No. It was round. I cannot think of the name. She won't even remember. She won't remember. But dude, I like tag. And every time I see him, I'm like, okay, forget it. I'm gonna go ahead and get it. And then, because I like the bezel has to be big enough. I don't have small bezels. That's what keeps me away from a lot of Rolexes because
they got like this 38-inch. Yeah. That's I'm the same way.
Bigger. But that tag that I saw was so dope. I was like, okay, man, I might have to do it. But I ended up getting another. I think I ended up getting another Breitling instead. But that was the one that I saw. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get another brand, that's the one. I like tag.
My wife just got me a Yag Mauser.
He's just trying to get sympathy jokes, man. Like, yo, Jay Swans, you gotta understand something. Jay Swans, you sitting here with pros now, bro. We're sitting here with pros, man. You're gonna have to bring it.
But wait, do you really do you rock the fake ones?
Nah, man.
No.
Yes.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
No, the reason why I asked that, let me tell you why I asked that. So we went to New York, and so my wife is from Newport. So like she is very bougie out there. Even I always joke that even the mice drive fucking Mercedes out there, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, very bougie. So but she said like a lot of her friends who have money, what they do is they go to New York and they get the fake shit and they'll walk around with the fake shit. just to have, and I'm like, wait, man, so they can afford the real stuff and they just still rock the fake stuff? It's like, yeah.
No,
Hey,
they buy the real stuff and they wear the fake stuff out.
hey, brother, I had a conversation with my pops just the other day, and I was talking about. I'm like, yeah, I just got this new tag, and he was like, he said, why do you get a Rolex? I'm like, because the face is too small. And he said, yeah, you're right. He's like, I got 4 of them. He goes, 2 are real though.
And I mean that makes sense too. You know what I mean? And then Knees hit you up. He was like, "Is this the?"
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, that's fine. So and Ty, I know earlier we had time constraints, but what are we doing now? Like we just rocking it. You got a hard out. You got a hard out.
I do have to leave because I do have to finish this project. But
okay,
I got a little bit of time.
All right, give me like 30 to 45. Jason Johnson, I'm gonna have to put a few diamonds in the bells of this Apple Watch. Yeah, man, put some cubits or zirconias up in there, bro.
I was gonna say, man, put some glass on it. You ain't got to do all that.
Hilarious.
Your time, man. Before you go, man. Like I said, you get out on the East Coast, man. Let me know. Like I said,
I ain't going right now, bro. We got time, man. You know, sit back and relax.
You gonna run up? How you going?
No. We got
I got about a good 25. I got about a good 25, 30. I do that.
So I'm like, yeah.
Look, I found it. Hold up. It's a Carrera. I said that right. But let me see if I can find the exact one. It kind of looks like this, but it has a bluish face.
You have to put it right in the middle. Okay. And that's for Knees right there. I don't know if he knows what that is, but I mean, they all come with blue faces now. Yeah, put it right in the center right there. And one of the things that I do like about, and this turned into a watch show. We're just gonna say this, and then we're gonna get into what we want to talk about. We're gonna get into the comedy part because this is the open mic segment. So the sponsors are out there with some of these high end watches, like Lewis Hamilton, like the greatest Formula One race car driver in the history of the sport. He rocks. He's an ambassador for IWC, the big blue pilot. And then looks like Naomi Osaka tag sponsors her. And then I was asking these about what was the name of the diver? I forget his name. Bruchel, I think it is. Anyway, he has a watch. That's the guy from the movie about the Navy. Yes. And so Brashear. Yes. So like they have Brashear has a watch, and I forget the name of the brand off top of my head. But these will put it in the chat in a second. And they also have there it is right there. The Oris has the Carl Brashear. That's the one that I was talking about, and they have a Roberto Clemente. So when you get into collecting watches, you can actually support our heritage and have these watches, and they're good conversation pieces when you're out and about and you're networking. And it's like, oh, I'm wearing IWC, but like, yeah, they're like, well, why you like IWC? Like, well, because you could talk about Lewis Hamilton, or if you're rocking the Oris, you could talk about Carl Brashear or Roberto Clemente or whatever. That's what I like about that. So that's for another show. That's for another show. And these watches, thank you so much, brother. You are an invaluable asset, bro. I love that. I love that. So here's the deal. Ty, Jay Swans, and Jay Swans. We're about to get into this. So I got a couple bullet points. We're doing this open mic. And Jay, it's good you're here because we can get a perspective from, like someone who consumes comedy. And
that shit ain't funny.
You about to get kicked off. You about to get kicked off right now. So yeah. So let's talk about right off rip. Let's talk about T.I. Let's talk about T.I. and T.I.'s effects.
Getting booed
on. Well, it's there's the boo thing, but here's the thing, and this is going to be interesting for you, Jay Swans. My thing is with T.I. is, first of all, I don't believe he values the craft, right? He's coming in. He doesn't really value the craft. Like, he doesn't respect the craft, let's say. So he's coming in, and I do believe that this could be hard for professional comedians, right? Because you look at what happened, what Will Smith did with the smack. That's someone walking up on stage and smacking a comedian. You look at what T.I. was doing with that open micer, right? He's getting loud with her, taking the microphone from her, like doing all that. People are going to feel empowered to do these sort of things. It's already a tough field. People don't understand how tough stand-up comedy is, man. So what are your thoughts on that, Ty?
As I said before, bro, he doesn't respect the art of stand-up. And people keep thinking that comedians calling them out are haters. No, nobody hating on that dude for trying stand up. It's a free country, bro. You can try whatever you want to try. Go ahead, do your thing. But what he's not doing is he's not respecting everything that comes with it. He's done it numerous times. Like, first of all, going up after a headliner. Let me tell you something, bro. I've been doing this for 25 plus years. One, I know this. As a headliner, the last thing I'm going to ask to do, even though I know I have the time to cover, the last thing I'm going to ask to do is to go up after. That's beyond disrespectful to go up after the person that has closed out the show. So let me explain. Not only is it bad etiquette, it's bad in the sense of rhythm for a show, because a comedy show is supposed to constantly ascend. You have your MC, you have your feature, you have your headliner, and it's supposed to be ending on an up note, right? So you say, okay, this dude comes in, and you there's no way in the world you have enough material to be funnier or just as funny as the dude that was up here. You don't. So automatically the show drops. So what he didn't take into consideration is what you could have done is you could have gone and said, hey, man, I'm trying to do stand-up, man. Can I go up before you? I'm sure Godfrey wouldn't have mind. Probably would have said, okay, cool, no problem. Because he would have preferred to go before than after, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and Godfrey would have sat there and listened and probably gave you notes, because that's how it works.
Exactly. But when you go up after, you're telling the audience, hey, you guys, I know you've seen what you thought was the best of the show. Now you about to see me. So he's already starting off on a bad foot. Going after the girl at the show. First of all, he was heckling her from the stage, and then he got mad because she went back at him and he didn't like what she said. So then he goes towards the stage, which again, if you respect the craft so much, bro, why are you doing this? Why are you doing it this way? But he got in his feelings about it because she said something that hit a nerve. You are also in the wrong business then, bro. If somebody can touch a nerve just like that at a comedy show. Then they say, hey, man, and I don't know how much of this one is his fault. Well, going over 20, 30 minutes at open mic is beyond shitty. But when they say we can get you on at the Barclays to do stand-up, hey, man, somebody should have gotten that dude's ear and said, you are not ready for this. You're not ready for this spotlight. That's not to say you won't ever be ready for it, but I'm telling you that because here's the thing. There's an energy between doing a club, a theater, and an arena. Let me tell you something. I opened for Donna Summer years ago. And when I got the gig, I'd already been doing clubs. I'd already been headlining clubs. I'd already been on television. But when I got that gig, it was at the amphitheater by Universal Studios. When I walked in there and you see this fucking huge amount of, it's people everywhere. And there's a Jumbotron right here. The thing what I mean by energy is I can't go up there and be like, yeah, hey, how's everybody doing? You guys good? Yeah. Unless you're an established comedian like that, like a Stephen Wright who talks very slow and this is just what I do. They expect that. When you have that you got to show that energy. T.I. don't even know his fucking rhythm yet. So yeah, he's already fucked up on a few different things.
Yeah, and Miss A.K. Letty says it sounds like most comedians feel like T.I. is completely disrespectful and out of pocket. Yeah. Yes and no. Well, yes, he is. It's a lack of respect for the craft. That's all that it's a lack. And he's a rap guy. So for T.I. coming from the rap world, it doesn't translate. It does not translate. Now, I will say this. I will say that the black crowds are a little more combative, and maybe certain rooms could be more suited to a rap style. And I'm talking about the energy, and I'm talking about, like in the room. But mainstream comedy, nah, bro, you got to put in the work. There are no shortcuts. You dig? So
maybe it's just not funny.
Well, here's the thing. And it's funny you said that, Jay Swans. Here's the thing. Nobody, when they start stand-up comedy, is funny. Nobody. Mm-hmm. Richard Pryor wasn't funny when he said his first few jokes. Dave Chappelle wasn't funny. You know what I mean? When he said his first, Bill Burr probably sounded like the most angry person you ever heard in your life when he first started doing it. right? No one, Sebastian Maniscalco, one of the hottest dudes out there in the business right now. Sebastian was horrific when he started at the Comedy Store. He was the worst comic there. Right now, he's a multi-million-dollar comedian. He's selling out Madison Square Gardens whenever he wants to. No one is funny when they start. That's why you got to do the open mics. That's why you got to work your way up through the system. It's like a farm league. You dig? So Miss AK, to your point, it's yes, he is on a little bit disrespectful, but it's not like he's disrespectful to us. It's to the craft.
So he's a lot bit disrespectful. He's a lot bit disrespectful because again, you don't ask anybody, you don't ask any headliner to go up after them. Period. Because theoretically, the show should be it. The only person that can do that. The only person that can do that is a person that is bigger than the headliner. When I say that, bigger than the headliner in the comedy realm. Meaning, if Godfrey was doing that show and Chris Rock asked to go, which by the way, think about that. Even Chris Rock wouldn't ask.
Chris wouldn't do it.
Chris wouldn't ask. Most people would want to go before, even though sometimes the headliner wouldn't want that because like, God damn, I got to follow this. I had to follow Chris Tucker. Do you understand? So it's not, I get it. But that's the only time where no one frowns upon it that way. Like if it would have been Chris Rock, if it would have been Dave Chappelle, if it would have been that, people would have been like, oh shit. The audience would be like, yo, we just saw Godfrey, we're about to see Dave Chappelle, what's up? But you see this dude and you're like, you ain't even got jokes, bro.
Right. You just up there walking around talking. And Miss AK lady makes another good point. T.I. can do no wrong in the ATL. Do you think Atlanta pumped his head up? Here's the thing. Not just Atlanta. His circle. His immediate circle. I guarantee, because here's the thing. Here's the thing about people and why they think they can do stand-up. You're hanging out with your friends, right, at a party that you just paid for, right? Your friends are always on your dime. Like whenever y'all go somewhere, you're paying for the crew. Whatever they eat, you pay. So whenever you say something or do something, yeah, they gonna laugh. Yeah, they gonna say you the greatest, right? Because they on the payroll. So that's the thing. Now, if I say something to Jay Swans or to Ty Barnett, right, and I'm wrong, they gonna tell me I'm wrong.
Not if you're buying drinks. Shit, I'll let you go.
They gonna tell me I'm wrong. Like these two men are not gonna allow me to go out and embarrass myself with encouragement. Like, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro. They gonna tell me I'm wrong, and they both have in the past. They have told me when I'm making mistakes, you make a mistake. So, T.I.'s you surround yourself with yes men. This is what's gonna happen, and you won't believe. Like then when the comments come along, bro, you don't even have 3 minutes, player. What are you doing? You hate.
That's what I'm saying. Like people should be in his ear, and I guess to be honest with you, it really depends on what he's trying to do with it. Because if you're really trying to be a stand-up, bro, you have made all of the wrong moves, except for getting on stage, trying to get on stage a lot. Because when you start now, you should try and get on stage a lot. But the places you're picking and the circumstances and your reaction to these things had all been the wrong moves. And that's what I mean by when people say, yo, somebody need to pull this dude to the side and ask him, like, hey, man, are you doing this for something else? Like, are you just trying, is this research? Are you doing it because if it's research, you're just trying to figure out, stage presence. I mean, because Robert De Niro did it when he was getting ready for The Comedian.
Which is a great movie, by the way. If y'all haven't seen it, watch that movie.
So like he did that. He got on stage to figure out cadence, how to hold the mic and how to address the audience and all that stuff. So he was researching something. Now there's whispers of him playing Red Fox, but now here's the thing.
Nero? No. Red Fox?
No. T.I. De Niro ain't that good of an actor. So he ain't that good. But so now, if that's the case, that's even more disrespectful what you're doing, because you're dishonoring not only the art of stand-up, but you're dishonoring the memory of an icon in the business. and this is, again, let me be very clear. Anybody watching this that are Ti fans that think that I'm hating, I am not hating. The dude has every right to try to stand up. Just respect the art form. First of all, look at it as an art form. I get so fucking tired of people acting like everybody can do this. Not everybody can do this, man. This is not. Hey, man, let me tell you something. And people trip out when I say this. If you're smart enough, anybody can be a doctor. Anybody can be a doctor. That's not to say doctors aren't valuable, and they aren't either. They perform the highest of jobs. But you can go read a book, you can go to school, you can get trained, you can go do your hours, you can perform surgeries, you can do that. You can go ahead because you need to be smart enough. And as long as you're smart enough and coordinated enough, you can do it. That ain't the same with stand up. It ain't the same thing with any kind of art form. You have to have some kind of talent to do that. So when I see people act like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try it, and I'm ready to do it. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not.
That's real talk. And here's the thing: there's so many people in Hollywood that spend so much money taking classes on how to be a stand-up comedian. And it was Jay Seinfeld was somewhere talking to he was at one of these classes. I guess he knew the person who was giving the class or whatever. So he went in there, he said hi, and one of the people in the class, one of the students raised their hand, is like, "Hey, Mr. Seinfeld, what's the secret?" Or some to the effect of, how do you become a stand-up comedian? How do you do this? And it was like, if you're in here, you're in the wrong place. This is not how you do it. And it's something to that effect. He was like, you can't be taught this. It doesn't work that way. How do you do it? You go to the open mics. That's how you do it. How do you do it? You go to the laundromats, right? You go to the dive bars, right? You go to the backyard shows, and you get your 3 minutes, your 7 minutes, your 12 minutes. You book that up, and then you get on the road, which brings us to our next point. Ty, tell us about road gigs, bro.
I used to love them, man. I used to love road gigs. It's just one of the most fun parts because you get to see. I have now officially been to every state in the United States. I've been to every state, and I've been to numerous countries. Like I've seen places that I never thought I would ever see because of stand up.
Now there's people who don't understand what we're talking about. So explain what we're talking about. What is a road gig for those who may or may not know? What are we talking about?
A road gig is one of course, any place you're performing outside of where you started. So like I started in Seattle, right? So I was doing road gigs as close as Eastern Washington all the way to my first out of state road gig was California, Eureka, California, which, by the way, it was for $90. It was $90 in Eureka, California. I was still living in Tacoma, Washington. But here's the thing: it was a 10-hour drive to and from, 2 hours, 10 hours there, 10 hours back. But also gas was cheaper. And the entire drive, all I'm thinking about was, I am getting paid to go tell jokes in another state. That's all I kept telling myself. That's all that mattered to me. I was like, shit, I'm on my way, and then I'm going to get paid. Again, $90. I probably cleared $10 on that trip. So with that being said, it's any place you're performing outside of your, I always say, comfort zone, because when you start, then you become comfortable enough to where you're performing in the areas and people know you. It's like, oh yeah, hey, blah, blah, blah. When you go on the road, I always say, like, whenever I talk to comedians, I'm like, look, I would never bank on material unless it's been time tested somewhere else, because it's the same philosophy I had when I started, as far as letting people know that I do comedy. Because one of the worst things I feel like a comedian can do is invite all the people that you know to come see you perform early on. That it's going to hurt you, because if you invite people to come see you when you're not ready, of course they're going to laugh. Of course you're going to get a TI situation. Of course they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, you great." Meanwhile, this one, don't quit your job, bro. But if you go into a place where no one knows you and they have nothing invested in you, nothing, and if you can make them laugh, that right there is when you start knowing whether your material is funny or not. So I would go. One of my first major road gigs was Cleveland. I got a chance to open for George Wallace, and I was actually in the middle of a comedy competition that I was favored in. It was me and a couple other people that were favored if we were staying in to win. And I had a chance to go do a gig somewhere else. And I chose the gig because I was like, I want to go perform somewhere else. I want to go see if I'm funny in Cleveland. And I want to perform for George Wallace. So um, I think road gigs are a good way to test your material. It's a good way to gauge how broad your material is. 'Cause that's what a lot of cats don't understand. Like you have to be diverse, especially nowadays. I mean, it's so much content everywhere. Everybody has a different point of view or something. So that's what road gigs are to me. Like a place to go hone your craft and really figure out. And you know what? And it helps you decide whether you want to do it or not because not everybody is built for traveling and telling jokes. It's
That's
not.
real. That's real talk, man. And I think you probably got what, another 10 or 15 minutes before you got to go.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about that, we're talking about you mentioned competition. A lot of people probably don't realize this unless they went and looked you up, but you were in Last Comic Standing. Was that season 2 or season 3?
Season 4,
That
actually.
was season 4. My bad. Season 4, Last Comic Standing. I remember that year because that was a great year. That was a great year. Like I'm
It was a
watching
good
my
year,
I'm
man.
watching my dude do his thing. So that the first time you got a taste of the true Hollywood A-list uh uh atmosphere, right? Got a little nibble at that apple. Was that the first time?
I would say yes,
Okay.
because I'd done some stuff before. I think I'd already done some for Comedy Central before that, but it was this is before everybody had cable. So
Right. And this was the big thing. Like, so it was you. It came down to you and Josh
oh
Blue.
yeah.
Came
But
down to you and Josh Blue.
here's where I say like it was this thing of my first taste of Hollywood, the experience or whatever. And I remember it distinctly. We were signing autographs after we had just finished the taping, and everybody, it was like 3 or 4 of us in the lobby. And so I'm here, Chris is over here, Josh is over here, and all of us have a mob of people around us, a huge mob of people. Now, by the way, this is pre-COVID, so that situation now would be different. So, but like, it's all these people around us, right? And I'm talking about these people are reaching for me, trying to get my autograph, and I had never had that happen in my entire. I'm talking about, dude, stuff that I only saw on television and movies, bro. And I'm like, wait, is this me? People want my autograph? You want my autograph? And so I'm handing out autograph, and I remember here's what's crazy about it because I don't know why like I've never been caught up in the whole Hollywood machine because in that moment I didn't get gassed up. I wasn't like, oh my God, now I'm on top of the world. I was like, man, this is an awesome feeling. And the next thought was, where do you go from here? Like, where do you go from this moment? Everybody wanting you to, what happens? And it makes me think about this line from De La Soul in one of the songs. It says, everyone cools off from being hot. It's about if you can handle being cold or not. And you see what I'm saying? So like for me, I've done my best to always stay grounded in what it is and why I do it. Now that doesn't mean I don't have moments where I'm like, yo, I should be doing X, Y, and Z. We've had these conversations before, Don, but it does help me understand that I didn't get into this business for that. You know what I'm saying? It's great. It's a nice feeling. People, showing you that love and stuff, which you kind of realize that they're showing you their love because you're doing something for the moment. But if you can still have a regular life and understand what it is, that's where the balance comes in at. I always tell people when you come to Los Angeles, man, find yourself a good circle of friends. And if you find yourself a good circle of friends, then you can navigate through all of the shit.
That's real talk, man. Because and this will bring the final point, and then I know you're gonna have to go. But we're gonna talk about fans because I do a lot of talking about Hollywood, Hollywood, what's going on out there, and it's fascinating because people have so many questions, right? They have so many questions, and
Hold on before you say that. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
The weird part, one of the weird parts of that was walking through the mall, and this is what I mean by the downside of when people know you. The downside of that was one day I was walking through the mall with my youngest, and my youngest was about 3 or 4 years old or something like that. And some
At the
dude
time.
walked up to me. Yeah, at the time. It walks up to me like it's this close to my face. And I immediately like pull my daughter behind me because I don't know what the hell is going on. This dude comes this close, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know I'm rooting for you. I'm a fan, and this and that." And I was like, "Oh, man, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot." And so me and my daughter keep walking through the mall, and dude, I had two feelings. The first one was like, "Man, that's awesome," and another thought was, "This motherfucker just walk right up on me like that."
Right. Right. So, and then we want to talk about
Continue.
That's a good segue because we want to talk about fans, right? So you get that. And there's a lot of talk out here. There's always talk about relationships and dating dynamics and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's like good guys, good women, all that good stuff, right? So here's the thing. Fans. And I wrote here in my notes, good woman, right? Good women slant wives who smash.
Oh man, see?
Who smashed? And here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. But here's the thing. It's a weird dynamic in Hollywood because it happens. Not just Hollywood, like when you're on the road and stuff like that. It happens. And I'll tell this quick story, and then I'll let Ty address this. So Ty, for everyone listening, is a true stand-up gentleman. Him, Jay Swans. Like these two guys are real stand-up men. I'll just keeping it 100, right? So this is a long time ago. Ty and I are out having drinks or whatever at the bar, and this is when Uncle Saint was on the hunt all the time. So I zone in on a little cutie.
Ain't nothing changed either, has it?
Yes, it's changed. It's changed. No, it's definitely been some change.
A little bit.
It has definitely changed. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's because his knees hurt. That's why.
I got a wheelchair. I don't need nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be on one of those hoverboards. And I have changed. But for this particular story, I zoned in on something, right? And what I zoned in, had friends or whatever. So Ty, being the stand-up gentleman he has to play the role of the wingman. And in this sense, all he's doing is keeping the friend busy.
You making Ty real uncomfortable. You know his wife is.
No.
I think the story he's telling. I don't think I knew my wife at the time.
You did not. This was a long time ago.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
So yes, this was a long time. No,
she is in the other room. Yes.
No. But here's the deal.
Part of the story, I'm like, yeah, no, okay, I'm good.
Doing the math?
It's like he's doing the math. No, I would never do anybody like that. But I need to get to this point about fans, right? So I'm talking a little shorty, whatever. Ty was driving, so he had to drive us at least back to my car. Ty was driving, so we had to pile into Ty's whip, right? And I'm talking to this, and I'm not really making much leeway. She's not really giving me that rhythm. She's just not, right? So I got to talk. She's like, "So what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm a comedian." Mind you, I'm air traffic controller, but I never would tell people I'm an air traffic controller. Like, I'm a comedian. Oh, okay, you're a comedian, and I'm not even lying. She's like, my favorite comedian is Ty Barnett, right? She's sitting behind Ty. Ty's driving. She's sitting behind Ty Barnett. I'm sitting behind the passenger, and the passenger's her friend. I was like, Ty Barnett, the comedian. She was like, yeah. You met my friend Ty, right? She was like, she kind of did one of these, and she's like, yeah, him. Yeah, that's Ty Barnett. Uncle Saint shoots, he scores. I could not shake little shorty after that. Simply because he's my friend. He's my friend.
I forgot all about that.
Right? He's my friend. Uncle Saint gets on, right? Fandom. It's just one of those things that just blows my mind, man. So what are your thoughts on the whole fandom thing?
I think fans are necessary. I think fans are the lifeline of why we do this, because I mean, otherwise we'd just be talking to ourselves in this business. But I also feel like um, they have more access to us now. They have more access to us because of social media, and that's a good and bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's great because I can sit here. You guys see I have a home studio, so like I can put content together and send it directly to fans. I can send it directly to people who follow me on social media. The downside to that is that when people think that they know you so well, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard. Like I'm a very my wife would say paranoid person. I just say cautious. Whereas I don't like, what I'm saying, like I don't like putting my public information out there like that. I don't like doing all that type of shit because it's like I just don't know who's who. And you know how society is now. People, you got some crazy motherfuckers out there. So um, being fans now is a little different, especially if you have a personal view. See, we're talking about if you're talking about a fan who only and all I did was tell jokes. That's all I did. All I do is tell jokes. I don't say anything controversial, nothing like that. Then that's different because you think, oh, okay, everything is happy go lucky. But we've always joked about this, Don. People would ask me, well, hey, where do I follow you? And I said, well, it depends on who you want to see. I said, I said, if you want to see the comedian Ty Barnett and everything is happy and cool and jokes, I said, there's the website, there's the Instagram, and there's the TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Because I try to keep it very surface. I said, but if you want to see Malcolm X, like I'm about revolution in this motherfucker, then you go to Facebook. So that's why, like, when people do come at me on certain, because sometimes people will come at me. Like I've had people send me great messages, and they be like, "Man, I'm a fan" and all that. And then I've had people come at me like, "You're an asshole." But here's what I find is, I feel like I'm gonna take this as a testament to my work. I'm gonna take it as this. Even though I've had people come at me and call me names because of my political views or whatever. The thing that has been constant is that people say, man, I tell you what, I think you're an asshole when it comes to politics, but you one funny motherfucker. And I'm like, all right, I'll take
Win.
that.
That's a win.
I'll take that. Dude, you don't even know how many times I'll give people that don't like what I say on one end, but then they look at the stand-up and they're like, all right, man, you're funny.
Right. And before I let you get out of here, bro, I'm typing in the private chat. The private chat. You should be able to see it on your end right now. Give me 1 second.
Let me know.
Hold on.
That's a good story, man. Because I've been called an asshole usually when they walking away, and I ain't even funny, man. They just asshole.
That is what it is. So,
but you look like you can hold your own, and they have to say it to you as they walking away.
I was gonna say not anymore. I just look tough now.
Yeah. So I put some in the chat. So Ty, I know you got to go. And because Miss AK Lady is still with us, we still got a few people hanging in there with us, just to give her a little taste. And I'll put in there.
You know what, man? I will tell you this, and then we'll see how it goes because
no setup. But I think it's cool.
It won't be that. But I will tell you, this reminds me of the time that we were at a show, and you yelled out a joke that you wanted me to do.
One time it didn't work. The other 5 times it worked great. The other 5 times we tore the place up. You always remember the one time it didn't work.
But I will tell you, I did actually try to bring this joke back because
exactly
it's way relevant now, and it was about gas prices. And I said, man, see, I'm already trying to remember how the setup was. Like a lot of people are complaining about gas prices. Like I'm not one of them people. You got to see the silver lining and all this. I said, good thing about high gas prices, drive-by shootings, way down. So gang members like, let's ride on them fools. No, not at $5 a gallon, bro. No, we're gonna have to do a skate by.
And then there's the act out with the skateboard. Old rollerblade thing. But listen, man, you got it. When you run that, you got to be not at $7 a gallon. It ain't $5 no more, bro.
ain't it bananas though? Do you know what I will tell you this? Everything the other thing that's changed with these gas prices, friendships. Friendships. You rethink every relationship and friendship you have because you know it actually is gonna cost a lot to get to and from places.
Yo.
Man, people used to be able to call you back in the day and be like, "Yo, man, come through, man. We just hanging out, watching some TV and this and that." Like, "Yo, I'm on my way." Now you call like, "Hey, man, you got to come over right now. I think grandma done fell and broke her hip." You like, which grandma? Because
hey, man, is that why you ain't been to the range? You ain't come up for the range, bro? Hold up. Like,
no, I just didn't feel. I just didn't feel like driving. It wasn't gas prices. It wasn't gas prices. I just didn't feel like driving, bro. I mean, you're still too far away.
Yo, thanks for bringing that up, man. I didn't even think about that. Good looking out.
Because if this was live in studio and I was still in the valley, if this was live in studio and I was in like North Hollywood, Ty wouldn't have made it. Tell you right now. And he loved me. He loved me. He was like, nah, bro. It's $6.75 a gallon. Oh, hell no. Nah.
I'm telling you that even to this day, I'm looking around like, do I really need to leave? I don't need to know. We're good. I even thought about walking more.
Don't get you in shape. So, yo, bro, I know you gotta get out of here, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Cool. Nice meeting you, bro.
Hey, same, man. Like I said, you get out this way, man. Let me know. I got you.
We'll do.
New York in June, brother. New York in June.
I'll bring two of the watches.
Bring two, one on each.
You mean the Rolex?
The Britling, man. I can't do it. Can't do it. Y'all be cool.
Peace, bro. Peace. And that's my man Ty Barnett, man. He's we're going to New York in June. We're gonna be doing some stand up in June. He's a tight brother. He always has me come out with him. He'll put me on with the promoters and whatnot. So we'll be in the New York area. We haven't set the dates, but it's gonna be like mid to late June-ish. I'll keep y'all posted. That's my man Ty Barnett. Just a quick little applause for him, bro.
Hey, at least you didn't do the little kids applause. You know I like that little kids one, man. That's just awkward to me.
It is what it is, man.
So you need to say that for Robert Kelly.
No, Robert Kelly can have that. So we're down to the last 15 minutes, bro. Anything you want to talk about, man?
Let's talk about like you ain't come up in a while, and I realize now it's the gas prices, bro. I see what's going on.
It's not the gas. Like I said, you live too far away. But even with the freeway being done, it's still 40-45 minutes. I don't drive like you. I'm not gonna risk it like that. The police are always pulling you over. I ain't trying to get pulled over like that, bro.
Cause you got to get that Will. Well, I can't say the Will Smith anymore because now they probably lock his ass up. Now you can't. I don't know who you can get now. Do we have any brothers out there that are safe anymore?
I don't think so. Carlton, I guess, is it Alfonso Rivera? But he's not even a brother. I think he's Latin with a name like that.
Well, who knows? Ain't no brother dancing. There ain't no safe brothers out there no more, man.
Ain't no safe brothers out there, man. Which is, it's cool. I guess it's cool.
We done messed that up.
Yeah, bro. So since I started the show with my story of my enlistment story, man. What's your enlistment story, bro? Going through maps, sitting down with the recruiter, actually figuring out your MOS, figuring out all this stuff. Like, how'd you land on airborne school? Like all that stuff, bro.
Oh man, I think I told you how that went down, man. I didn't even tell my parents.
You told me, but you're telling the world right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, basically I played sports in high school, and I had D1 offers, and I accepted an offer at San Jose State to go play ball. And, I wasn't feeling it. I just knew that if I went to San Jose, I was going to, get some girl pregnant, have a couple baby mamas. I wasn't trying to do all that. So I wanted to do something else. So I went and, talked to the recruiter. My dad was in the Air Force as an air traffic controller. And I told the recruiter, I want to do that. They were offering me all kinds of stuff. You could drive tanks. You could be a medic, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, well, this air traffic thing seems to work out for Pops. So I'll give that a shot. So, I went and did the paperwork, went down to MEPS, they make you walk like a duck. It was the first time I actually stood around in my drawers for half the day. And that was a little awkward. But, went there and did all the paperwork and everything. And, went back to school next day. So, I'm going to school, graduate, all that neat stuff. And I'm just kind of hanging out at the house during the summer. And I was getting ready to leave, and the coach called me. I was leaving in a week to go to basic training, and the coach called my house talking about, hey, where's Swanson at? He's supposed to be here at the school. Where's he at? Supposed to be here at practice and doing all this other stuff. And my mom's talking to me about it. I'm like, well, I joined the Army. And it was a rough day in the Swanson household. She went nuts. She called my dad. My parents were divorced. She called my dad, and my dad talked to me, and he's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I want to join the Army. And he asked me why. And I said, you know what? I need to grow up. I need to become a man. Going to school is just not going to do it for me. And he was like, all right, talk to my mom. And, I went ahead and went down to MEPS again and did that final checklist. And when you go and do your final checklist, the job they promise you, all of a sudden that job seems to disappear. At least back when we were in it, the job seemed to disappear. So I was sitting there and they're like, oh, we don't have your job for you now, but we got this, this tank commander or whatever, tank job or whatever it was. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I can either take this job and be an idiot, which I'm not saying dudes in tanks are idiots, but it just wasn't for me. Or I can go back home and face my mother and have her tell me I told you so. And I went and set up.
It's like Second Army, here I come.
Yeah, that's kind of where it was. And I sat in the hallway for about an hour, just kind of sitting out there. And they came back in, and they're, hey, you know what? Hey, we found your job. I'm like, all right, cool. And so they're like, here, sign here. And I'm looking at the paperwork, and I was like, hey, you got anything that's airborne? And they had like civilians. They had the civilian guy there doing the paperwork. He looks at me and goes, shit, hold on. Came back 5 minutes later, said, look, we got you an airborne slot. Will you just sign the damn paperwork?
What?
So, I went and signed the paperwork. And, and I was hard as hell leaving MEPS. I was hard as hell leaving MEPS. I was hard as hell all through basic training. I got the AIT. I was hard as hell in AIT, training. Got to airborne school, and I was hard as hell for the first week.
So it changed in Tower Week for you.
Tower Week, wait. Tower Week, boy, my ass did like this, puckered up just like that.
So there are 3 weeks in airborne school. 3 phases. You got ground week, you got tower week, and then you got jump week. So it is done that way. It's a progression. So you're doing everything on everything on the ground, wherever and then you get to tower week, and you start jumping off the towers and stuff like that. So they have this 250-foot tower.
The Great Ungawa. Hold on.
Ungawa. That's it.
Great Ungawa.
The Great Ungawa, the tower, and a lot of history there. It's just part of it. That's the first thing you see when you roll up and at airborne school at Fort Benning. You see the tower, and man, when they hoist you up, so they got this tower. It's like it's four I guess arms that comes off the tower, and they hoist you up this 250-foot tower. So the parachutes are already deployed within this metal harness kind of thing, and they just kind of crank you all the way up. And when you get halfway up, they stop. They do it real slow.
Slow too.
Yeah, real slow. And when you get halfway up, they stop, and you just kind of dangling there. And then they continue up slow, and you get to the top, and then you hear this clicking noise like clunk clunk. And you just now you're swinging back and forth like you're looking around. They make sure you see everything too. They make sure you just sitting there like
You good, airborne?
You good? They got bullhorns up there. Hey, hold what you got, airborne. Hold what you got. You good, airborne? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden the thing goes up. The only time it goes fast is like right before they drop you. So you real slow going up there. You get locked in, and all of a sudden it kind of jumps up and lets you go. Like, and then boom, you're falling. And the parachute doesn't deploy immediately. I mean, it has to get air, so you you drop down a little bit and open. Oh, bro, that was scary.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Probably half a second of your life, boy.
Oh, that was scary. Then you get people who don't know how to control the parachute. You got to manipulate your risers. It's a thing they call a slip. You got to do proper slips, and they're screaming at you through the bullhorns. Slip left, airborne. Slip right, airborne. And it's always somebody that goes right into the tower and gets stuck in the tower. And they just kind of hanging there. They got to go get them out.
which is worse because you're sitting there like, damn, now I can see this. And you know, when you get down, they're gonna smoke you. So yeah.
Oh yeah, when they get down, because they got to come up there and get you, and they're not gonna be happy when they come get your dumb ass. So
man, look, I was shook up on the little 34-foot tower when they have you do the mass
coming out
exit.
the mock door, coming out the mock door.
Man.
Oh man, that was crazy. That was scary. And I was saying at the beginning of the show, I was saying that my first jump, because we jumped C-130s the whole time at Benning. Because I didn't jump a C-141 till I got to Bragg. So and those are different types of airplanes. The C-130, you've seen they got propellers. The C-141 has jets. So
you got to jump. You actually got to jump on a 130. 141, you just walked.
You just walk out, and like the C-130, you actually had to stand in the door. That was one of the jump commands: stand in the door. And if you were the first person, you're standing like your feet is over the leading edge. Like this is the edge of the door. Your foot is actually over that. You're in the door. You're just like you're just in this door, holding on. Like your hands are on the side, but you're not holding nothing, and you're waiting for the order to go. And you wait, the green light goes on, they smack you on your butt, go, you got to jump. And man, listen, I've never, that is, so anyway.
I was number one jumper one time, man. I was in jump school. And they said, stand in the door. And I stood there and I didn't look out because I didn't look out the door. I looked at that light.
Just looking at the light, wait for it to turn green.
I'm telling you. And I remember I looked out the door finally, like the last time, right before I jumped, I looked out the door because the light turned green. I looked out the door and I swear to you, man, I saw the curvature of the earth. I never seen nothing like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to say they had us jumping it. I want to say we were jumping somewhere between 25 and 2,700 feet.
Oh no, it was like 17 or 1,800.
Y'all did. I don't even remember that part.
At jump school, because
I know the first ones were real high.
At Bragg is 800 feet.
Yeah, AGL. I know it was real high in training, but I just thought, I was thinking like, man, was it 2,600 feet? I couldn't remember.
No, I wasn't even that high, man.
No, I'm talking about in jump school. Those first 5 jumps.
I'll say it was like 1,500 or 1,700 feet. It wasn't that high.
In jump school? Nah, we had more air, bro. Like we were up there, man. It was over 2,000 feet. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I went,
you felt like it because you only weighed like 17 pounds.
It was just a jump. I mean, it took forever to get to the deck, and then like I remember the difference getting to Bragg. I'm like, whoa, we close to the ground. You know what I mean? Like I remember the difference. The difference.
Wait, I remember my first jump, man, in school. It was I remember, I get off the plane because everybody trying to be hard, doing all that yelling, woo. And when they said stand up, everybody got quiet.
Outboard personnel, stand up. It's a wrap.
Everybody got quiet, and I remember that first jump. It was like I was in the middle of the pack somewhere, and and it's like you hear go go go, and I'm moving. I don't know how I got to the door, but I got there somehow. I was out, and I remember thinking. You're counting to 4,000. And it's like, man, this ain't bad. I'm like, man, this is nice. It's like being in the swing, like sitting in the swing. Like this ain't bad. And I started looking at the ground, like, man, that ground's coming up kind of fast.
Awfully fast, mighty fast.
Then I started doing that whole, putting my feet and knees together, eyes on the horizon. And then I remember thinking, man, that's gonna hurt when I hit the ground. And I looked down and I saw a creek, and I said, "Oh, look, there's a little bit of water there." So I started slipping towards the water, right? And I made it, got to the water, splash, probably, 12 inches of water, splash. And I'm laying there like, woo, I just jumped out of an airplane. Woo, I'm the greatest. And then I remember thinking, oh shit, this is the South, bro. There's alligators here. Let me get my ass up out of this shit.
Not just that, but I mean, a water landing, like I ain't trying to drown. And the rigger's gonna be mad at you. You brought back some a wet chute.
Bro, I got so much shit for that. Because first of all, I had to roll that shit up and carry it, which that shit was soaked, so it weighed even more. And then I got back there I caught myself throwing it down there in the pile and, heading back over, and my kit bag was wet. Everything was soaked. And I can't remember, but the black hat came over and he was like, whose goddamn chute is soaking wet?
Get over here, Airborne.
Me, I'm trying to stay quiet.
The dude who's soaking wet. Get over here, Airborne.
Exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. You come here, Swanson. Is that your shit that is wet? I don't know, Sergeant. I don't know, Sergeant Airborne. He was like, well, you're wet. Ain't nobody else wet.
Man, landing in the water. You never told me that story, bro. That's crazy. There's no way in hell I was trying to land in the water, bro, ever. So we're coming up on 1 minute, right? So we're gonna close this out, man.
1 minute.
1 minute. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's it. Stand in the door, bro.
No, I ain't doing that no more.
Stand in the door or stand by. Those were the two orders And once that green light came on, go, man. But yeah, man, thanks for hanging out, bro. Like I said, it was set up for Ty, but I'm glad you wanted to jump in. That's why I had the link handy, because I'm like, you know what? Jay Swans is probably gonna try to sneak in here tonight.
I had to jump in because I was sitting on the toilet and I'm talking shit and you stopped posting my shit.
Yeah, because then that's why. So Miss AK lady, thank you so much for hanging in there with us, and everyone else, needs watchers. Jason, man, thanks for hanging out with us. We're gonna keep growing. We're gonna make this something. We're just getting started. That's Jay Swans. Y'all saw Ty Barnett. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Yo.